Sahagana Raghunathanidam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaidam Savadudam Parijana Sahidam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalidam Sri Vishakha Nidamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dhinabandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhashya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Sahana Vadu Sahana Bhunaktum Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Madidamastu Ma Vidushavahay Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tatsat. Also recite the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadhyasya Yado Anyaya Didaraschatve Savijyaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adigave Muhyandiya Suryaha Tejo Vari Mrudam Yada Vinimayo Yatrat Sargo Abrusha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirastagam Satyam Param Dhimahi. Translation. O my Lord Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all the causes of the creation, sustenance, and destructions of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the creations of by the reactions of the three modes of nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representation of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. We'll go to the verse. So this is, we were going through the third canto, which is titled as Questions by Mahatma Vidura, Sage Vidura. And we know that Mahatma Vidura was in pilgrimage, traveling all over the Bharatavarsha, and finally came to Vrindavan, the banks of Yamuna. There, Mahatma Vidura met Uddhavaji, and Mahatma Vidura was inquiring. That's a chapter is titled Enquiries from the Mahatma Vidura. So Mahatma Vidura inquired everybody who are close associates of the Supreme Lord, and who are those who are pious, those who are in the Pandavas, Yadavas, Yadukulas, and and finally came to the the Dhritarashtra, inquired about the Dhritarashtra, even though Mahatma Vidura was knowing Dhritarashtra about all the what Dhritarashtra was going on. And then Mahatma Vidura then finally was mentioning about that Mahatma Vidura took himself that such a form for such a way of going around the places and in pilgrimage and in disguise of as a mendicant. So we were discussing in very detail in the last class about how a devotee should be. Should not announce that I am doing that, I am doing this, so I am doing so much of service. but with full conscious of Krishna, that is not for me, but I'm doing this I'm taking this penance, I'm taking these sacrifices and sufferings, and for the sake of the Supreme Lord, to please the Supreme Lord. So this is the proper mood of worship, proper mood of devotional service that Mahatma Vidura was exhibiting. So then here in this verse, Mahatma Vidura further, in the today's verse is 43rd verse, Mahatma Vidura was mentioning again about his pilgrimage and glorifying the Supreme Lord, that how the Supreme Lord is so great. And even Mahatma Vidura was in the last class mentioning about that even by the grace of the Lord that Mahatma Vidura could see the various temples and forms of the Lord, only by the grace of the Lord. So, dear devotees, anything which happens in especially in the devotional service or the mercy of the Lord, is that devotees are getting is only because of the grace of the Lord, only mercy of the Lord. Nothing else happens without the mercy of the Lord and the gurus or the devotees. So Mahatma Vidura is saying here, Nunam Nrupanam Trimadopta Dhanam Mahim Muhus Chaledam Chambubhi Vadat Prabannarthi Jihirshesyo Abhyubhega Sangham Bhagavan Kurunam. Synonyms. Nunam, of course, Nrupana, of the kings, three. Mada Upadana, going astray out of false pride. Mahim, here. Muhuhu, constantly. Chalayadam, agitating. Chamubhi, by movements of soldiers. Vadhad, from the act of killing. Prabhanna, surrendered. Arti Jihisraya, willing to relieve the distress of the sufferers. Ishaha, the Lord. Abhi, in spite of. Ubekshada, waited. Agham, offenses. Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord. Kuruna, of the Kurus. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Despite His being the Lord and being always willing to relieve the distress of the sufferers, Krishna, refrained from killing the Kurus. Although they committed all sorts of sins, and although he saw other kings constantly agitating the earth by their strong military movements, carried out under the dictation of three kinds of false pride. Purport. As declared in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord appears in the mortal world to execute his much-needed mission of killing the miscreants and giving protection to the suffering faithful. In spite of that mission, Lord Krishna tolerated the insult to Draupadi by the Kurus and the injustice perpetrated against the Pandavas, as well as insult to himself. The question may be raised, why did he tolerate such injustices and insults in his presence? Why did he not chastise the Kurus immediately? When Draupadi was insulted in the assembly of the Kurus by their attempt to see her naked in the presence of all, the Lord protected Draupadi by supplying an unlimited length of clothing. But he did not chastise the insulting party immediately. The silence of the Lord did not mean, however, that he executed the offenses of the Kurus and the followers. Kurus. There were many other kings on the earth who had become very proud of the three kinds of possessions: wealth, educations, and followers. And they were constantly agitating the earth by movements of military strength. The Lord was just waiting to get them together on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and kill them all at one time. Just to make a shortcut in his killing mission. Godless kings or heads of state, when puffed up by the advancement of material wealth, education, and increase of population, always makes a show of military strength and give trouble to the innocent. When Lord Krishna was personally present, there were many such kings all over the world, and he thus arranged for the battle of Kurukshetra. In his manifestations of Vishwarupa, the Lord expressed his mission of killing as follows: I have willingly descended to the earth in my capacity of inexorable time in order to decrease the unwanted population. I shall finish all those who have assembled here except you, the Pandavas. This killing does not wait for you to take part in it. It is already arranged. All will be killed by me. If you want to become famous as the hero of the battlefield and thus enjoy the booty of war, then, oh Sabyasaji, just become the immediate cause of the killing and thus take the credit. I have already killed all the great warriors, Bhishma, Drona, Jayadratha, Karna, and many other great generals. Do not worry, fight the battle and be famous as a great hero. This is from Bhagavad Gita. The Lord always wants to see his devotees as the hero of some episode which he himself performs. He wanted to see his devotee and a friend Arjuna as the hero of the battle of Kurukshetra, and thus he waited for all the miscreants of the world to assemble. That nothing else is the explanation of his waiting. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashthabhudale Srimade Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashthabhudale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Ramane Namaste Saraswati Charane Vishesha Punyavadi. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much. We came across the 43rd verse of this third canto, first chapter. In these words, Mahatma Vidura was referring, despite his being the Lord and being always willing to relieve the distress of the sufferers, Krishna refrained from killing the Kurus. So this is the context of Mahatma Vidura was mentioning the Kurus and the Dhritarashtra and how much they were actually doing the atrocities against the humanity and especially his own kinsmen, especially Pandavas, his nephews, and Draupadi, the wives of the Pandavas, and how much the Kurus were against the Pandavas and especially the people around. And we know that the atrocities of Duryodhana was so ferocious, so furious, and so much adharmic, so much religion that in terms of every moment he was giving lots of troubles to the Pandavas and other people around the kingdom. So Mahatma Vidura was advising Dhritarashtra that get rid of this, this envious Duryodhana. He would bring the destruction to the entire dynasty, entire family. But Dhritarashtra was not listening to Mahatma Vidura, and Mahatma Vidura was so frustrated. And that's the point. Even Duryodhana was so much angry against Mahatma Vidura and sent him away and tell that, leave this place, leave this palace, because he was a young prince. So, he shouted at Mahatma Vidura, and Mahatma Vidura left the palace. And Mahatma Vidura remembering all those. And then Mahatma Vidura was mentioning and remembering that how glorious the Supreme Lord, and how Lord takes care of his devotees. Even though Lord could immediately chastise and revenge against the Kurus, and it's very clear. Mahatma Vidura understood that the science of Krishna consciousness, how the science of the Supreme Lord works. It's not that, sometimes we think that, okay, we judge the Supreme Lord, that, oh, Lord should do like this, Lord should do like this. And sometimes we have this kinds of mentality to criticize. Oh, Lord has 16,108 wives, and why did the Lord, took the chariot here, and he drove the chariot, and he is not a Lord. So many people comment like this because of they don't know about the science of the Supreme Lord. So it's very important that we understand this fact. And this we can hear only from the Srimad Bhagavatam and then Mahabhagavatas. Bhagavatam and Mahabhagavatas. Bhagavatas are actually ones who understood the Srimad Bhagavata and the pure devotees of the Lord, known as Mahabhagavatas. We should always listen from them. Then only we can understand this transcendental science. Otherwise, we will also come to this category of, judgment or prejudice, that we always have this prejudice, it should be like that, it should, everything goes, like this, because we have some kinds of wrong understanding or some kinds of, or, Srila Prabhupada says that there are three kinds of faults, right? What are the three kinds of faults? Pride, right? Pride and education and the followers, right? These kinds of three kinds of fault we always have. When we have this pride and the false ego or education and the scholarly, and then follows and the people around you, I have these many people, I have so many people follows me, I have so much of relatives, I have so much of kinsmen, I have those, and then people start to behave that he is the king, he is everything, and that is our nature. So see that how Mahatma Buddha, he is a pure devotee of the Lord, how he thinks, that he understands. And that is how important that we are hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam. Then only that we can understand this transcendental science and how we can situate, purely in Krishna consciousness. So here, um, Mahatma Vidura was remembering and referring that even though Krishna could kill immediately the Kurus, those who are doing all these atrocities against the Pandavas, and also Mahatma Vidura is mentioning here that, even the kings were constantly agitating on the earth. Remember that the story of Jarasan, right? So we know that Krishna and Balaram left the Vrindavan. They came to Mathura. And Krishna mentioned to the Brajavasis, the Gopas and the Gopis, his close associate, the Sakas and the Sakis, that I will be back very soon. Do not worry. I will be back very soon. Do not worry. So Krishna, Akrura came and brought Krishna and Balaram to the Mathura. Then we know that Krishna and Balaram then fought with the Chanura and Mushtika and killed them. And then Krishna immediately killed them, right? And also after that, Krishna killed Kamsa, right? So sometimes people may ask, here Krishna killed Kamsa immediately, but he didn't kill Kurus and waited for the entire battle to happen, right? So these are all contradictory things that which we can see, so but which are not contradictory. So when Krishna appears, when Krishna does something, there are many reasons for it. So we think there is only one way. Oh, Krishna killed this one. Oh, the Krishna was afraid of the other things, and Krishna ran from the battlefield. Oh, Krishna likes that. Dear devotees, always remember Krishna is known as Purna Purushottam Bhagavan. Krishna is full, complete. Krishna is Purna Purushottam Bhagavan. Krishna's leelas are unlimited. So Krishna, when Lord, Supreme Lord does, there is a reason for that. There is a meaning for that. There are certain, cause that which occurs behind that. There is a karana. There is a reason for it, for everything that Krishna does for it. So since we don't understand and we don't have that full faith in Krishna, then we started to criticize and wanted to talk about all these things unnecessarily that people, kind of judgmental. So here it's very clear, and Mahatma Vidura also giving us that understanding that we should understand, we should follow the Supreme Lord very clearly. So we know that sometimes we call Krishna as the thief. We say he's chor, he's makan chor, and he steals everybody's property. But Acharya has mentioned that everything is his property, and we are stealing his property, and we are the thief, and now we are the thief, and we are calling him the Supreme Lord as a thief. So this is because of the improper understanding. So when we have the proper understanding from Srimad Bhagavatam, then we can completely situate in the full Krishna consciousness, or we can come to the pure devotional platform. That's why it's very important that we hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Otherwise, it's all mental concoctions. So we have to always, three things we have to always do. We have to always hear Srimad Bhagavatam. We have to hear from Bhagavatam. We have to hear from the Mahabhagavatas. We have to always hear from the devotees, pure devotees of the Lord. And we also have to read. We have to hear and read and hear from the sadhus. We should always do this. Then only we can come to proper understanding. Otherwise, sometimes what do? We think that I am doing this devotional service, I am doing right. But sometimes there are offenses and the mistakes are always there. Like a fire covered by a smoke. So what happens when the fire is there inside, when it's little fire, but it's covered by smokes, like that, our activities are, covered by certain kinds of mistakes and faults, and because of we don't have a proper understanding. This is very important that we hear from the right source. That's why, we hear from the authorities. We read from the books of Srila Prabhupada is an authority. We always need to do that. So it's very important Hare Krishna. I think, can you please mute? So it's very important that we hear Srimad Bhagavatam from the right sources, right authority, right scriptures. So here, in this case, we can see that when Krishna and Balaram came to Mathura, and then Mother Krishna promised to the Prajavasis that I'll be back very soon. But Krishna couldn't go. So Krishna killed Kamsa, then re-established the Ugrasena as the king of Mathura. And initially, Ugrasena was hesitating to take. But now Krishna installed Ugrasena as the king of Mathura. Now, when Krishna killed Kamsa, all the other alliances of the Kamsa, that friends of Kamsa, there is, Jarasandha, there is, Shishupal, and so many other, kings. They were so much angry, so much of that. How come Krishna? And they were actually calling Krishna as the cowherd boy, Gwala. And they didn't even know that, this is the Supreme Lord. And that's another problem. When this people comes against Krishna, first they think that, oh, this is an ordinary person. So we can see that in this world, many people think Krishna as an ordinary king because of they don't want to accept Krishna as the Supreme Lord. Many people think that, oh, he's a king, he ruled Dwaraka, that's it. There is no greatness. Some people think that, oh, Krishna is an incarnation of Vishnu because they don't know that, so basically, we can see that all around the world, basically, it is just there are some misunderstanding and proper knowledge is there. So that's why Bhagavad Puran is very great and we should hear from Srimad Bhagavad Puran. So here then what happened, Jarasandha and so many other kings, and we know that in the Srimad Bhagavatam, they were against Krishna. They were looking for a time to attack Mathura. So Krishna was protecting Mathura. Krishna was stayed there for many years. Krishna, and then that the Jarasandha was keep coming to Mathura to attack. So Krishna could kill immediately. Krishna could immediately kill. But Krishna waited for it that moment. Krishna waited for this credit to give to Bhimasen. We know that past times, right? When Jarasandha was attacked 17 times, the Mathura, 17 times. Then what happened? Then Krishna decided, it's been quite some time now, it is Krishna decided everybody move from Mathura to Dwaraka. You know how it is happened. Everybody was sleeping in Mathura in the palace so nicely, so wonderfully. Krishna called the Vishwakarma and Krishna instructed to Vishwakarma that make a palace in the ocean. So immediately, all on overnight. So everybody was sleeping. So Krishna instructed Vishwakarma. Vishwakarma appeared. Vishwakarma started his work. Vishwakarma is a divine, and he's so powerful and divine. Vishwakarma immediately created a big palace in the ocean. That's where called Dwaraka. Even we know that the Archaeological Survey of India, they found out that the remnants of Dwaraka and the palaces and the columns and everything under the around 500 meters, half a kilometer down the ocean. And they found out, they saw it. So immediately Vishwakarma, created that palaces and everything it came out from the ocean and made such a beautiful palace. And Krishna made that plan that Krishna immediately transferred everybody, all the inhabitants from Mathura and to Dwaraka. So now it's very difficult for Jarasandha to attack. So Krishna thought that why should I give such a trouble for the innocent people in Mathura? That time, Mathura was one of the very wonderful city, like very beautiful. And that time on the entire planet Earth, there were 7 cities were so beautiful. 7 cities were so beautiful, and Mathura was one of it. And Krishna wanted to keep that. Because of there was many pastimes before that Mathura was become Mathura. It is known as Mathura means it was a Madhurapuri. There is a demon called Madhu, right? The Madhu, that's where the name came from, Mathura. The Krishna killed that demon Madhu in a previous incarnation of the Supreme Lord. That's where actually it's a very sacred and holy places, that Madhura. And also know that the Lord, Lord Varahadev also came to that. That's there is a god in Madhura, is known as Varaha god. Varahadev also appeared there, and Lord Vishnu also appeared there. And it is Madhura is a very, very sacred place, very holy place. And also Krishna is also appeared in Madhura. So, in Srila Rupa Goswami Pada mentioned that, when it's mentioned about the holiest places, and Madhura, Srila Rupa Goswami mentioned that Madhura is the holiest place, and one should visit Madhura. Similarly, Dwaraka is also a holy place. And, in the Char Dham Yatra, Dwaraka is in the west. Dwaraka is also a dham. So immediately Krishna transferred everybody to Dwaraka, and they didn't even notice. So when they got up in the next day morning, everybody is in Dwaraka, and there's a beautiful city. There is Dwaras, there is barricades, there are walls, and external the walls and the gates and so many things like that. So they all astonished. And Krishna was referring and mentioning this one. Why should I give the troubles to the innocent people in the around the Mathura city and the beautiful places? So Krishna made this one. So, but when the people think about, oh, Krishna immediately left Mathura because of the afraid of Jarasandha. Even Jarasandha took that way. Jarasandha told and mentioned that, oh, this is because of, afraid of me. Because of me that, Krishna moved Dwaraka capital from the Mathura to Dwaraka. And Jarasandha took that and started to, tease Krishna likes that. And also in another time in the one of the battlefield, there was a demon called Muchukunda, right? So Krishna was for fighting with this Muchukunda. And Krishna ran away from the battlefield. Krishna ran away. And Krishna climbed up on a big hill. And climbed up on a big hill, and then everybody was following. All this entire team, especially Muchukunda, everybody was following Krishna. And then they all climbed up to the hill, and then Krishna was on the peak of the hill, and Krishna and Balaram jumped out of the hill. And we can imagine how Krishna is so powerful, he is Supreme Lord, jumped out of the hill. And this is the time everybody was on the hill, and Krishna then started to the fire around the hill, and fires broke out immediately. Everybody burnt down, and Krishna killed that way the Muchukunda like this. So Krishna exhibit this pastime so wonderfully, so beautifully. And then people think that, okay, Krishna did this because of that. This is because of utter ignorance, because we don't know the transcendental science, because we don't have the faith in the Supreme Lord. Then once we started to judge whatever the Supreme Lord does it, and we started to judge. So we should not do that. So this is what is Mahatma Vidura is referring here and mentioning here. Then we know that when in Krishna in Dwaraka, then, later, there is so many people attacked even Dwaraka. And then Krishna was in the Krishna book, it is mentioned, Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, when we see it, we will see that, oh, how Krishna is killed all of these people who attacked Dwaraka. And, nobody could defeat Dwaraka. And nobody could. So in that case, and then Krishna had a plan to kill Jarasandha. We know that when Rajasuya Yajna was happened, and then the Yudhishthira Maharaj was hosted this Rajasuya Yajna, and send everybody to 4 directions. And Krishna was mentioned that when you go to west, that you cannot kill this Jarasandha. He is very, very powerful, and he has to defeat in order to do the Rajasuya Yajna. Otherwise, he cannot perform because of he is undefeatable and not an ordinary way. So then Krishna made a plan like that. Krishna and the Bhima, and they went there. They took that position. They went to the palace of Jarasandha. They reached there, and they disguised in the form of a Brahmana. So why Krishna did that? Krishna wanted to give that credit to Bhimasen. And here this time they disguised as a Brahmana. Then Jarasandha, even though they were evil kings, they respected the Brahmanas those times because of they understood that Brahmanas, they were their pious life. So Jarasandha respected the Brahmanas, and then they stayed there. And then Jarasandha asked, then, you can ask me from anything that you want. You are a Brahmana, so I should give something in charity. So then Krishna mentioned that, we would like to fight with you. Jarasandha was then laughing at him that, you Brahmanas, we are going to fight with me. Do you know who I am? Then Krishna was insisted again. Then Jarasandha got some doubt. These are not Brahmanas, these are Kshatriyas. Then Jarasandha asked, who are you? And how come you are here? Then Krishna and revealed his original identity. And on those days, right, they were also upkeeping this code of conduct of the war. They don't immediately fight. So then, Krishna and Bhimasena was there, and Jarasandha mentioned that, yes, I am ready to fight with you. So now you are challenging and came to my palace, and I'm ready to fight with you. And Krishna mentioned that, yes, you can pick the the battle, the fight. So Jarasandha immediately picked that wrestling, the fighting mushti, the wrestling fight. So then Jarasandha could have even picked up the Krishna, but when Jarasandha saw the Bhimasena, Jarasandha mentioned that, oh, this is my equal combat, and I would pick Jarasandha. This is all Krishna's arrangement. Krishna works very subtle in everybody's mind and how things should happen, because of when we understand all these things, dear devotees, it's very subtle. Krishna's, something sometimes we were discussing in the last Sunday in the temple. No, last Thursday in the temple. When Krishna, we think that we are doing actually everything. But in reality, it is Krishna who is making arrangement. He is actually the cause of all the causes, cause of all what we do. Since we are so gross, we cannot understand this subtle, how this subtle, very sushma of how it is happening. It's very subtle like that. So Krishna was making all this plan, and Krishna wanted to give the credit to Bhimasena because of Bhimasena. The Pandavas were very dear to Krishna. Then Krishna made that arrangement that immediately Jarasandha picked the Bhimasena. Then they started this wrestling match, and then we know that what happened. Instead of killing the Jarasandha, even we know that immediately when Jarasandha born, there was actually, they born in two pieces actually, two flesh actually. When Jarasandha born, it was actually not as a one body Jarasandha born. Jarasandha born with the two pieces of the flesh, an equal match of the opposite side. So the entire family thrown this, the body, the flesh in the forest. In that forest, there was a witch known as Jara was living. Jara was, there's a witch. Then this witch was so powerful. And then this witch actually came and saw this flesh. And then she took these two pieces from the left and the right, so equal pieces. He just took it together so that Jara thought that, I would eat. But the moment Jara took and joined these two pieces, this boy became alive. And then Jara then actually started to grow and take care of this child. That's why this Jara, this boy got the name Jarasandha. So Krishna knew all this. Nobody else. Dear devotees, that always we say that we think that we know everything. Even we think that we know about Krishna, we know about the Supreme Lord. But we don't know even ourselves. We don't know even ourselves. And we think that we know everything. We know about Krishna, we know about Supreme Lord. Then we started to criticize and fault finding and judgmental and prejudice and all those things. Here, Krishna knew the pastimes of Krishna. Here, and remember that when Krishna was mentioning Srimad Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, Arjuna said, Arjuna, that I revealed this transcendental knowledge to sun god Vivasvan almost 120 million years ago. And Vivasvan instructed to Manu, Manu instructed to the Ishwaku, and then, due course of time, this transcendental knowledge is lost. Then Arjuna's had a doubt. Arjuna was, looking at Krishna and think that Arjuna was telling to Krishna, oh Krishna, you and I are born in this lifetime, this age, this time. How come you know all those and I do not know? Krishna said that to Arjuna, oh Arjuna, that you and I are, yes, took birth, but I took birth in many, 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 many lifetimes and I remember all of them, but you do not. I remember all those, and I remember all this who are taking birth in this world. That's why Krishna is revealed that universal form to Arjuna. That's what is mentioned, that all these Bhishmas and the Dronas and the Jayadratha's and all these evil kings were already been killed. Already been killed. That means Krishna made all that arrangement. Only this matter of that who is going to be the the instrument to do that. So Krishna wanted to give that credit to that his dear devotees. So like that here, then Krishna wanted to give that credit to Bhimasen, and Krishna knew that the story behind the Jarasandha. So only way to kill Jarasandha in that way only. That's why Krishna made all this plan. So Krishna came with the Bhimasena, and then that time, then Jarasandha picked up, Bhimasena to wrestling fight. So no way, Jarasandha was very powerful, and he had 10,000 elephant strength. Not only that, whoever is fighting with Jarasandha, he gets the half of the strength from the opponent. See, he gets the half of the strength from the opponent. So this was, Jarasandha was so powerful like this way. So Krishna knew all those. So then Krishna was giving some hint to Bhimasena when in the fight, that Krishna mentioned that Krishna took a little stick and Krishna then tear it off the stick. So that means Krishna was giving some hint to Bhimasena that tear off then Jarasandha. So Bhimasena did that. Bhimasena one point of time caught hold of the leg of Jarasandha and then put on the leg on it and started to tear off. Then it came out, and only this way that Jarasandha could be killed. Then Jarasandha throw off these two pieces together. Whenever these two pieces together, then Jarasandha comes, it's actually joins together, and then Jarasandha comes to the life again. The devotees, when Krishna is not there, then who could else save the devotees of the Lord? Krishna knew everything. Even we don't know, but Krishna knew everything about us. Everything about us Krishna knew, and Krishna knows everything about us. So that's why, dear devotees, we have to take complete shelter of the Krishna, because only Krishna knows what is good for us and what is so. Like how Krishna is intervening in the devotee's life, likes that Krishna also intervene in our life when we completely take shelter of Krishna. So it's very important lessons to learn. So here, when Jarasandha was again coming back to life, Krishna showed to Bhimasena that no, not to throw like that. Krishna showed his fingers like this, just cross each other. So Bhimasena understood that throw the half part of the body, throw it cross each other so that they don't come together and join again. This is the way Bhimasena killed the Jarasandha. And we know that in that case also, when Jarasandha had a son, and also Jarasandha was planning, he was actually doing the 1008 kings. He captured 1008. His plan was to sacrifice 1008 kings in the sacrifice so that he can get more power. So he was waiting for one more king. He captured almost 1007 kings. He was waiting for one more king, and that's where actually even Jarasandha was thinking that when he was in the wrestling, that I would kill that so that I can complete these sacrifices. Then Krishna rescued all of them. And Krishna rescued all of them, and they were so indebted to Krishna that they were about to be killed by Jarasandha. And this is the time Krishna intervened. When we know that the Bali Maharaj was doing the sacrifices. He was doing these 108 horse sacrifices in order to attain the position of Indra, or the throne of Indra. That's the time when 107 yajnas were over. The horse of Ashwamedha yajna was over. If he would have done one more, then Indra would have been replaced with the Bali Maharaj. That's the time Indra and the mother Aditi went to the Supreme Lord and prayed to the Supreme Lord, protect. So Krishna intervened and came out in the form of Vamana Deva and requested, see that Bali Maharaj was trying to capture all over the three worlds, all over the three worlds with that intention that he was doing a sacrifice. But Lord appeared, intervened, and then what happened? Lord requested three paces of the land, three steps of the land, and removed and returned everything and retrieved everything from the Bali Maharaj back. So, dear devotees, Krishna knows that what to do. Krishna killed Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu was thinking that, okay, I would make all these plans, nobody could kill me. But Krishna even appeared as in the form of, Narasimha Dev. We know that those wonderful, wonderful pastimes of the Supreme Lord. So, because of we don't know Krishna's pastimes, we started to judge. But Mahatma Vidura was referring here how Krishna could kill the immediately, but Krishna will not do that. But Krishna gives the credit to his devotees. Like when Krishna killed Jarasandha, Krishna was giving credit to the Bhimasena. Like that, when Draupadi was disrobed in the assembly of Kurus, this was a severe, evil act. If anybody would have been killed themselves immediately, even Pandavas were, even Bhimasena was so ferocious, so angry. So he was ready to kill immediately all of them. But Yudhishthira Maharaj then obstructed, Bhimasena, do not kill, that we are slaves of now Kurus. And this is the time that Dushasana, pulled Draupadi into the assembly of Kurus. And everybody, all respected people were sitting, and Dushasana and Duryodhana was trying to make Draupadi naked in front of everybody. So what a, abominable activity, and who, a sane man, will do that? But they were ready to do that. But Krishna retrieved himself from killing all of them. Because of somehow or other, they are there. Even if he start to kill, there are Bhishma is there, there is Mahatma Vidura is there, Kripacharya is there, there are spice kings who are also there, right? So Krishna was waiting to give this credit to Arjuna. So we know that then what is all happened. And Krishna was waiting, Arjuna was waiting, Bhimasena was waiting, even Draupadi was waiting. Draupadi took a revenge. Draupadi took a vow that, I would get the blood from the chest of the Dushasana, then only I would retie my hair back. And Bhimasena was waiting for it, and they were all waiting for this moment. And Krishna was also waiting for this moment. And this all injustice happened with the, induced to Pandavas by the Kauravas and the Kurus. And they took such a severe suffering throughout the jungle, like 12 years in the jungle, 1 year incognito. They were slaves, kind of. They were servants of Virat king in the 1 year of it. And Draupadi had to go through so much of humiliation from the, Kichaka, and so many. And even the Virat king was even insulting Yudhishthira Maharaj. And they were they were sleeping on the floor, and they were going through all this. Krishna was waiting for this. And those times, whoever is actually, supported Duryodhana, they were all assembled. They were all evil. So, but on the other side, even those who are supported, Yudhishthira Maharaj, they were on the, in the dharmic side. And then all these evil kings were assembled together in the Kurukshetra. Krishna was waiting for this moment. Remember that Krishna was mentioning this in the Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkridam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge, that Krishna manifests to, annihilate the miscreants and to save the pious. So Krishna will come. So Krishna will also at the same time give the credit to his devotees. There are so many instances like that. Remember that Krishna took the position of a charioteer of Arjuna. Then Arjuna was actually leading. But when at the one point of time when Bhishma was very difficult, Bhishma was very much like to be opponent with the Arjuna, and very difficult that to move the Kurukshetra war in progress and move further. Krishna even took a wheel to kill Bhishma Dev. This is Krishna. So Krishna is always that ready to give the credit to Arjuna, credit to his devotees. So here we know that in the battlefield, Arjuna took a vow that when Jayadratha killed the Abhimanyu, and in that, Chakravyuha, Arjuna took a vow that I would kill Jayadratha, but otherwise I would end my life in the fire. What happened? And they made a plan that Jayadratha took Jayadratha far away from the Arjuna, almost like 10 miles. And this is the time Krishna intervened in order to give that credit to Arjuna, that Arjuna killed the Jayadratha. Krishna could kill him immediately, but Krishna didn't do that. Krishna made a plan that, and the Kauravas took Jayadratha far away from Pandavas, and Krishna made that, sunset. And Krishna made that sunset immediately, and everything became dark, and they came out from there. They were hiding, and they came out. And now this is the time Krishna removed that cloud, and then sun again, and on the daytime again. This is the time Arjuna killed Jayadratha. So then credit all goes to Jayadratha. Sorry, Arjuna, that Arjuna killed Jayadratha. So like that, dear devotees, and Krishna intervenes in the devotee's life in a different way, and that to the other, like Krishna also kills directly. Like, when Hiranyakashipu, the Prahlad Maharaj was so much in. So Krishna wanted to give that credit to Prahlad Maharaj. Krishna, even the moment, when a devotee is in danger, when we know that the Gajendra, the step of Gajendra was in danger. The moment Gajendra called Krishna, Krishna immediately appeared there and killed the crocodile who was caught hold of Gajendra. But on the other times, then when Krishna wanted to give the credit to his devotees, Krishna wait for that proper moment so that, the devotee get that. So see that Hiranyakashipu was giving so much trouble to Prahlad Maharaj. And Krishna rescued Prahlad Maharaj in all those situations. And then this actually increased the Prahlad Maharaj bhakti. And one point of time, Prahlad Maharaj was so much seeing Krishna in everything. And he said to Hiranyakashipu, his father, my Lord is in everything, everywhere. And Hiranyakashipu said, he is also in this pillar. He was light of teaching and chastising. He is in this pillar. Prahlad Maharaj said, he is in this pillar. Yes, that's the time Hiranyakashipu took the sword and cut the pillar. That's where the Narasimhadev appeared and killed. And what is Narasimhadev? Everybody was so ferocious, afraid of this ferocious form of Narasimhadev. But Prahlad Maharaj was not afraid of. And Narasimhadev took Prahlad Maharaj on his lap and glorified Prahlad Maharaj. This is what is exactly Krishna did with Krishna glorified Arjuna, that in the battlefield, because of he is very dear to his devotees. So, dear devotees, we have to understand this this transcendental science that in devotees' life, Krishna is always takes that position. Krishna is subservient of his devotees. Krishna is ready to take service from the devotees. That's a relationship between, even though the devotees are so dear to Krishna, but Krishna doesn't take that. Krishna would personally come and take the service from his, give service to his devotees when the pure devotees and serve. Because of Krishna says that I am indebted to his such devotees. I'm indebted. So like that, Krishna wanted to give the credit to his devotees so that it's glorified. When Krishna is glorified, that's why devotees are also glorified. And as always remember, Srimad Bhagavatam is not only the glorification of Krishna, but Srimad Bhagavatam is also the glorification of his devotees. And also remember that Krishna, when we see Krishna, is not that just a single person, that Krishna, all his paraphernalia, all his dear devotees, all his close associates, is also Krishna. And Balaram is also the servant of Krishna. But Balaram is also Krishna, and that Krishna is serving. And the devotees are also dear devotees. By the mercy of the Supreme Lord, that devotees can serve Krishna. But by the mercy of Krishna, remember that how Krishna is so merciful. By the mercy of Krishna, devotees serve Krishna. But Krishna took it as the service from the devotees, and then Krishna comes personally to serve that devotees. So this is how great that the Supreme Lord are merciful, and this is the science of Krishna that we should always understand, so that we have to have the complete faith in Krishna, and we have to completely surrender unto Krishna, so that we would be always in the association of the Lord. And that's the science of Krishna. That means we should always ready to serve Krishna and his devotees, and Krishna would never forget such devotees. And this is the mercy. So Krishna also is, even though Krishna is equal to everyone, but for his devotee, Krishna is very dear to his devotee. He takes devotees in his heart. And Krishna has mentioned that I am seated in the devotee's heart. Even though Krishna takes that devotees in his heart, but Krishna says, I am seated in devotee's heart. I can be seen in devotee's heart. See how beautiful it is that, in the relationship between Krishna and the devotees. So devotee always think about Krishna, and Krishna always think about his devotees. So this is the transcendental science, and we should always remember this. With this note, I would end here. Thank you so much for joining today, and this is on this Sunday morning, and this is very nice to hear from Srimad Bhagavatam and the Lord Visha. And this is all possible by the mercy of the Lord and, of course, mercy of the devotees. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. The devotees, any comments, any questions, concerns, reflections? Let's discuss.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful class, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. Anybody has any reflections? Any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Prabhuji, one question is, what is the difference between the suffering of a normal person and the suffering of a devotee? Like we see, we are not on the level of Pandavas, but even in today's, maybe even in this neophyte stage or anything, when we see even the devotees are suffering to some extent, and then sometimes we think why they have to suffer. But there should be a difference between the suffering of a normal person and how the devotee is actually suffering.
Wonderful. Very nice. Very good question, Mother. Yes. What is the difference between suffering of an ordinary person and suffering of a devotee? Suffering of an ordinary person, let's take that way. That is because of his karma. As an ordinary person, he did a lot of, abominable activities and sinful activities he did in his pastimes. But on the other hand, the suffering of a devotee is part of the Lord's arrangement, Lord's mercy, that so that they would be also glorified in the association of the Krishna. Just for an example, think about Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada he had a lot of suffering, and he had to go through 3 heart attacks while he was passage to the Western countries. Initially, Srila Prabhupada was staying with one of in a single room. And then there, Srila Prabhupada had to share with everything. One time, everything was stolen. So why it is happened? Everything was stolen from Srila Prabhupada. And he was even praying to the Lord, why it is all happening to me, O Krishna? But Srila Prabhupada says that, but you may have a plan. You may have a plan. And when Srila Prabhupada arrived in, nobody he knew, only one person. And Srila Prabhupada was writing in his letter, I didn't know even whether to turn left or right in the Boston Harbor when he got up alone, singly alone. Some help, we got it. So Krishna touched the devotees, and Krishna also intervened in such a way that and take that devotee in his pastimes of the Lord. We know that Srila Prabhupada was part of the Gaura Leela. So this was the arrangement of the Gaura Leela. So it is a time for devotees to prepare and understand and deep devotion, and so that the devotee is completely transformed, completely is ready to do. And also at the same time, Krishna intervened in due course of time to make that this devotee is going through this, so that learn some lessons, right? How to prepare, how to do this. We know that when the Pandavas were in forest, so Krishna told Arjuna that go and acquire all the divine weapons. When Krishna was in the palace, this would not have happened. Arjuna was in the palace, it would not have happened. Arjuna did the tapas, penance, and then Lord Shiva appeared. And also Arjuna got the chance to go to the heavenly planets. So every moment they were actually somehow, in the case of Bhimasena was so much furious because of the struggle and suffering he was becoming. So it's like how a seed is actually going to ripen for it to bear big fruit, a beautiful fruit. Like a seed, when it is sown in the soil, it has to go through certain processes. Like it's mentioned that one example mentioned that like a jewelry is so beautiful. When it is become jewelry as a nice necklace, it's so beautiful. We know that where it's come from a raw gold. so that the who is making this gold, they have to beat them the gold and is getting all this. But at the end, what happens is becomes so beautiful. So likes that Krishna wanted his God devotees to be so beautiful, then has to go through this process of suffering. Because of this suffering, he's not really suffering. Krishna is always there, but in reality, that or in visions of the others' eyes, that we see is a suffering. But Krishna is there. Is within the case of Draupadi. Draupadi was Akshay Patra. You know that when Durvasa Muni came, Krishna immediately appeared before them. See that Mother Kundi was praying to Krishna, "Oh Lord, please give me trouble every moment, so this way I can remember you. I can remember you." So Krishna was dear to them. That's why there is trouble to the devotees, so that this devotee is always in remembrance of the Lord. But ordinary people are not like that. They are going through the karma. But here, because of this, and the devotee, those are even little bit, they get the opportunity to remember the Lord when they go through it. And this is also part or past of the pastimes of the Lord, that he's making that. He's mentioned that when a devotee takes one step, Krishna takes 100 steps so that he can come to me. There was a story in Dwaraka. Krishna and Balaram went to the outside for a just, outside to see how all his prajas, inhabitants were doing well. And Krishna came to a Brahmana's house, and then Krishna mentioned that, okay, be more poor. That, Krishna, Balaram said, Balaram didn't say anything. But then Krishna came to a big rich man's house. He said that, okay, be there so much of wealth to this. Balaram got confused. Balaram said, why are you giving this like this to this? This Brahmana is a very poor. He is actually really wanted the wealth. But you give more, poverty. Why is that? Why you are doing like this? Krishna said, if I give them more richness, and then he started to slowly forget me. And then he goes away from, the richness will make his mind polluted, so that he can simply even. But now Brahmana is, because he has always remembering me, and even it is more, this Brahmana will more chanted me, more, remember me and offer loving devotional service to me, because then will become so pure and pure loving devotion. So this is happening with the devotees. So we know that Srila Prabhupada took such a step, and Srila Prabhupada was so much dependent upon the Lord. So this is the way that in the devotee's life, and Krishna would actually give that opportunity to remember him. That means at the end, that finally Krishna is making sure that they attain the supreme abode. But not ordinary people. They has to go through the karma many lifetimes after lifetimes after lifetimes. They have to suffer. Their suffering is not like that. But it's as Krishna says that, like a devotee, they're suffering in this world, like, how we can cross over a water contained in the footprint of a calf. But for an ordinary man, it is crossing over like an ocean. Remember, can you imagine that we can alone cross over this ocean? No. So it's very difficult. So for an ordinary man, it's so difficult. They go through such a, but on the devotee's life, when it is happened, it is like crossing over a water contained in the footprint of a calf, that Krishna is always there. Krishna takes care of that devotee. Why? Krishna is always wanted that devotee to be with that Krishna. Krishna never wanted that devotees to go away from him. So, but even though we see that it's a suffering, but it's not a suffering, basically, but it's a mercy of the Lord, so that the devotees purifies and more and more and more closer to Krishna. Hope I answered your question, Madhaj.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes. It's very clear. So we have to take all that we are going through as the mercy of the Lord and be surrendered. So that.
Be surrendered.
Okay.
So
that's what it takes on. We always be surrendered. Okay,
so the difference between the non-devotee and the devotee is just like devotee have to surrender all the sufferings as well, but non-devotees do not surrender, right? They take it.
Yes. They always, devotee has to always take shelter of the Lord. Anything happening in the devotee's life has to see that it's as a mercy of the Lord. With that understanding, with that, that devotion, that Krishna makes sure that he goes through that, he goes through that understanding. But on the other hand, non-devotee, that they take, they don't even in that time, They don't even, oh, this is, this me, I can do it, I can do this, let me do this. But he cannot even never come to that the point of the complete surrenderness unto the Supreme Lord. So at the end of that, when the devotees, and it's also Krishna's arrangement, Krishna's pastimes, that devotees to be glorified at the end. So we know that the case of Srila Prabhupada, what is this? The entire world is actually appreciating Srila Prabhupada. United Nations is appreciated Srila Prabhupada. There is a stamp Indian government, published in the name of Srila Prabhupada. And now in this world, actually, like acharyas, like, so like Srila Prabhupada will be even glorified in thousands of years. So devotees are always glorified. But they, in ordinary people think, oh, they are also but they are not suffering, but they are, receiving the mercy of the Lord.
Yes, Prabhuji. But we have seen, Prabhuji, only devotees get lot of suffering, right? Like Srila Prabhupada got lot of suffering.
Yeah.
And Pandavas got lot of suffering, even though he got the mercy of Krishna. But suffering always get to for the devotees, not for the non-devotees. We have seen in our real life as well, non-devotees, they are very rich, they are doing very I mean, they have all the kinds of
opulences,
comfortable
opulences.
like,
Yeah, this is
opulence.
the way we think it, that, oh, they are doing good and they're, but as we know that they are losing Krishna, the ultimate of everything, ultimate of all this. What is the benefit? What is the, you are rich and you are millions of dollars, and the next lifetime you are crawling on the ground like a snake or like an insect. What is the use of all this? So they don't understand. So they have this forgetfulness. They don't have this understanding. But on the other hand, when the devotees have an understanding, this is a journey, that we are always in association and always in the remembrance of the Lord. Like Mother Kundi was praying, give me trouble so that I can remember you.
Oh yes,
You are not going away, so that, but if that way we can always see you. So the devotee always take trouble. Many devotees takes troubles. Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj took the trouble to go in Russia and preach. That time it was prohibited. So Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was distributing books in the trains, in the compartments, and Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was sitting inside the closet in the toilet and chanting his rounds, because of he can't publicly show this, and putting tilak and taking bath. Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, then pretty much leaving in the train, goes to that one train and wherever it ends, then come back on the same train and go back on the same train. This way, meeting lots of people. And then Bhaktivedanta Maharaj had to go through the cancer and so many things. But Srila Prabhupada was very much appreciating the services which was exhibited by the Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj and glorified. And see, if you go to Sri Gida Nagari, there is a small temple even for Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, and devotees are taking care of. See that eternally, Srila Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj is glorified now and taken, Krishna took Srila Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj on the side of in the Radha Muralidhar there, in the temple there itself. So this is the greatness, is that we may have to, everybody has to in this world, but the devotees, this is their last suffering. But the other people, they have to millions of lifetimes, they have to suffer. But here, in this case, that in the case of Gajendra, just suffered quiet, and Krishna intervened and took back to the abode of the Supreme Lord. So here, we think that they are, but this is their last step in their process, that think that those who are suffering in the Krishna conscious devotees, that means they're all their things. Krishna is taking care of that devotee. That means he is going back to Krishna. This is the sign and this is the symptom.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji. It is more clear. Thank you, Mataji, for asking that question. I had that question too in my mind always.
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji. I think as neophytes, we all have that question. Yes.
Yeah. It's very, Krishna is so merciful to his devotees in this way. So Krishna wanted his devotee to back, reclaim his devotees to be back.
Yes.
So that means, Krishna is making sure that he is ready now, to get back. Yeah. So wonderful. So nice. So nice. Wonderful topic. Very nice. Okay. Anything else? Anybody else? You would.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna.
All
Dandavat
glory to Srila
Pranam. All
Prabhupada.
Krishna.
Very nice class, Prabhuji. Very good narration of the story for Jarasan killing and Bhimsen taking the credit. But Krishna is also so merciful that he gives credit to his devotees. Prabhuji, I have a question on the same
Sure.
context. The fact
Sure.
that when Bhimsen was fighting against Jarasan, so Lord Krishna was giving him instructions because he wasn't able to kill him or take over him. So
Right.
and like you explained, right? So he would give him instructions by just taking a stick and breaking into two, like piercing it, like tearing it, and then he would follow. And then again he would understand. Then Krishna would throw in the opposite directions. Then he would understand. So my thing is, that was the time when Dwapar Yuga and Bhimsen was, all the Pandavas with Lord Krishna. Today, in this current world situation, for an aspiring devotee or a growing devotee, so what are the, we also come across similar situation, not like fighting against Jarasan, but there are people out there who are like, they
Yeah.
are some way poking you. They are just not so happy seeing you happy, and they want to know what business, like what are you into these days, why you're not with them. And so times like these, I mean, and there are situations also, difficult situations. What instructions, uh, where should one look for intelligence or that answer, that voice, um if a situation like this arises, to deal with people,
Yeah.
difficult
Yeah.
people.
Definitely. Actually, that's it's very important that we understand this as well. We know that we always need seek. Krishna is actually representing in three forms like Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. Guru is a representative of Krishna, and Sadhu representatives of Krishna, and Shastra. And as we know that even Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna is actually in Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna, that's why Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna himself. Krishna took actually Srimad Bhagavatam as himself. So we should. So it's when there is a situation like, devotees don't understand and they are talking and they are all. So then we can take the instructions from these three senior devotees and the sadhus, guru, and shastra. So what is the appropriate things to do in that case? So in this case, suppose for an example, some non-devotees, right, for poking us and things like that, or giving us troubles or things like that. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that is, we should be tolerant and than a tree and, humbler than a blade of grass. And this is the instructions which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us. We should definitely follow that. We should not have these kinds of revenge or, this person does this way, this person this way, I should have some. No. But there are certain situations that we have to also become, kind of what is called, oppose that. Suppose there are situations like, Srila Prabhupada says that. Srila Prabhupada says that when the devotees are attacked, right? If something happened to us, we don't care. We don't care. But when the devotees are attacked, devotees are chastised, devotees are ill-treated, we should react on that, so that devotees are protected from the others, and this all like that. So these all instructions are there from Srila Prabhupada. Pretty much we are actually, our movement, Krishna conscious movement, is what is Srila Prabhupada gave the instruction to us. If one follows this, the Srila Prabhupada's instruction, and especially, following regulatory principles and following the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, the instructions of that instruction is actually transferred to the Guru and Srila Prabhupada's disciples. And Srila Prabhupada's disciple as a spiritual master Guru is, giving us and sharing to us in the various lectures and when we meet them. And many devotees, and especially we all have the spiritual master. Anything in such situations, we should get that lessons or instructions from spiritual master, and we should completely follow, because of these instructions are directly from the Lord himself. And there is no doubt, there is no difference. So that's why instead of we are taking mental concoctions or taking ourselves, how I should do the same, our own concoctions, rather than we should seek and take guidance, take instructions and advice from the instructions from the senior devotees, Srila Prabhupada, and even we can see pretty much all from the Srimad Bhagavatam, how this Mahatma Vidura, how he was did that, how did we can get the answers from all this. And most important thing is actually we never go away from Krishna and his instructions, and Guru and his instructions, senior devotees and his instructions, and authorities and instructions. We should not take. So we pretty much we should always don't do anything our own in sense. That means we should always seek the mercy of the Lord. That's where the mercy come from. Otherwise, when we do it ourselves, oh, I am so great, I can do this way, I can do that way, then we are thinking that, this is our settled ego that, I'm a devotee, I'm so great, I can do this way, I can do this way. That we should not do that. So this way we can covers of we are protected in that way. Is that okay? What's more there?
Yes, Prabhuji. Definitely. I mean, tolerance and having patience is important. And just depend on Krishna for the situation to change. And if it gets a little troublesome, you're right, also seeking instructions. That helps. I'm sure Krishna speaks to your heart.
Yes, Krishna speaks through the heart and the devotees and Srila Prabhupada and instructions and the senior devotees. And see, that's what is, Krishna devotees are very dear to him because of otherwise what happens, in the case of many times, the devotees are persecuted and they took the suffering and so many. So, but on the name of Krishna, they tolerated, they suffered everything. So such devotee, Krishna is very dear to such devotees. In the case of Prahlad Maharaj, he suffered a lot and Hiranyakashipu persecuted. But every time Prahlad, Krishna is seeing this Prahlad that took such a pain and such a devotion, such a determination to worship Krishna. Krishna has become so dear and Krishna came personally. So like that. So we should always that, anything which comes to us, like we should not take it so seriously. And is always an offense to me. And we should pray to Krishna that, please give the intelligence to that person who is okay, please give that opportunity. We pray that that's what it's a very, like that's the example, like Lord Nityananda Prabhu. Lord Nityananda Prabhu was even praying to the, Sri Gauranga Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please give the mercy, shower the mercy, so that they can. So that's what his devotee means. Then, but when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw that Nityananda Prabhu is, hurt, Nityananda Prabhu is attacked, he became angry. He forgot everything. So that's when devotees are in attack, devotees are in danger, we take some certain steps to protect that devotee. That's also Krishna consciousness. The Krishna pleases because we are not doing for ourselves, but for the sake of devotees, we are taking some steps so that way we all can, it's all Krishna conscious. So this is the way that we have to see, and this is the way we have to follow through and in our life, so that we'll be always in protection of the Lord. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. That's the last one is also very important, having that conviction that Krishna will be there for you, while you suffer, just be patient. But yeah, definitely, and engage in the services.
Very good.
Just take your mind away.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Anything else? Anybody else? Let's conclude.
No, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let's conclude today's class. Vancha kalpadrupasya krapa sindhubhyev Adidana bhavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Vaishnavrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Pada ki jai. Ananda Krishna. Jai Premanande.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.